Hello, everybody. Welcome to the United Fan. This is your match preview for Manchester United against West Ham. Our first summer series games in pre-season. And also we'll react to Amorim's first press conference ahead of this game, and he does make bold statements when it comes to certain players that he's talking about and Manchester United in general. So let's get into the show. But before we react to the obviously do the match preview for West Ham, I want to look at some points that Amorim made in his press conference. Now, look, when you look at his press conference, he does make some controversial takes, such as talking about Luke Shaw, saying he's world class. Now, if you told me 5 years ago and you told me Luke Shaw was world class and still had injury problems, I would have believed you. But you look at Luke Shaw still being injury prone and unreliable for United, and can you even say he's world class now? How can you say you're world class? Like, you're only world class not because of your quality and what you can do on the pitch. It's also your availability as well. It shows how reliable you are for your team, people say he's reliable for his country, but not for Manchester United. People have different opinions. Some people think you should put the club ahead of your country. Some people think vice versa. But when he talks about Luke Shaw, look, I like Luke Shaw. I'm pretty sure most people do. The only thing that really gets annoying when it comes to Luke Shaw, and it comes from most Man United fans, is his availability. And the only reason we're angry is because of what he can do, what he can bring to Manchester United, and his availability is an absolute joke. And this is why most people want him out. But then, if we're willing to sell him, then when someone's injury prone, how do you expect the other club to pay for Luke Shaw? And there were obviously rumours that Saudi were interested in Shaw. Now, I don't know if it was a reliable source or whatever, but it pretty sure got United fans off their chairs and took as happy news. Now, obviously, look, would I want Luke Shaw? Of course I want him. I want Luke Shaw out because, it's 11th season. I think he signed for us in 2014 and it's 2025 and he's still at the club. And probably the only person who kind of gets away with it, like not gets away with it because of what he's done for the club, is David De Gea. Now, you look at Luke Shaw and you're thinking to yourself, good player, but he hasn't been available for United. And don't forget as well, even before he was, great, he was kind of inconsistent in the way that you look at COVID season, the amount of mistakes he was making. Him and Maguire as a duo, absolutely terrifying. So, even when he was fit, it wasn't like he was great. There used to be times when he used to be absolute shit. So, and I even pointed out when we were playing Leeds, and there was a chance on the right hand side, and I'm thinking to myself, why is Shaw stepping up? Like, stay in your position, and absolutely exposed on that side, and almost Leeds scored. So, I don't know. Like, it's crazy because his last game when he started, and I don't know when he started. I think probably I was gonna say Ipswich, but he was actually on the bench. I have no idea the first time he started, but last time he started was against Luton, and that was in bloody February, and that was a while ago. So, if we do get offers for Luke Shaw, it's great. If we don't, then, it is what it is. You have to do with it. I also want to talk about Amorim, talking about players like Garnacho, Anthony, and Sancho. And he also said if they're still at the club by the end of the summer transfer window, he might put them in their plans. Now, I mean, cool, you're giving Garnacho a chance, even though Amorim said he doesn't want him. Anthony probably, I mean, where's he going to play? He's hardly going to play. Sancho, where people would say, you know what? Hell no. Now people say, oh, but Sancho will cook. He'll probably play one of the tens. And it's like, no. After that freedom fighter speech that he made, no. Why would you need someone who can go on other people's posts and just say freedom? It just shows he has no remorse for United. Absolutely. And the wages he's on. And look, this is his what? His look, next season is he's gonna be a free agent. And it'd be an opportunity to get some money, but his obsession of, you know, how much money he wants, and this is why it's taking so long, because Juventus want him. The only problem is that wages, and he wants United to pay him to go. Like, I don't understand. So, and you look at Anthony and Garnacho, the only reason they're in this situation is because they want to go to clubs that they actually want to go to. Like, apparently Garnacho thinks he still has a chance at Chelsea. I don't know how you find that possible. And Anthony wants to go to Betis, but if you really wanted to go to Betis, how about you lower your wages if you somehow care about Betis and, what's the word? Became a better player. He brought, he showed that old Anthony back at Ajax. So, but I don't know. It's just that you want. It's like I'm getting Garnacho commenting on Rashford's post saying "Let's go," and obviously some fans will say you're saying "Let's go," yet you're still yet to find a club, but you're still chanting "Let's go," and it's like, can you blame them? I mean, this whole saga started because of you wearing a Rashford shirt. Not only a Rashford shirt, a Aston Villa Rashford shirt. So you kind of made United fans angry by doing that, and they definitely change opinions on you. Even like your greatest supporters have even turned on your back. I mean, it's just crazy. Like, one moment can change everything for a footballer, and that's what he did. But I don't know. But Amorim talked about Kobe Mainoo, so this is what he said. He can play in both positions in midfield. Last year he played more in front. His best position is with the ball. I think he's a big talent. I think he needs to increase the rhythm, the pace. I'm always on that with Kobe. He can be better. Now, this is where I like Kobe Mainoo. I like, if you're a bloody right, look, even rival fans praise him so much that they wish they had him at their club, because he's that great. You just look at him. You go back to 2 seasons ago in our second season. Obviously, it was supposed to be his breakout, but obviously he got injured against Real Madrid and he didn't play then. And obviously made his debut against Everton. Like, it was like he came onto the show and that's it. And he became a starter, and then due to his performances and obviously in the FA Cup scoring, he got England call up. Not only that, he was a starter for England, and it's like you go from there to obviously next season, and obviously Tanner sacking, Amorim coming in, which made it tough on the squad, but who's that come down to? So seeing obviously Mainoo adapted to a new formation, new style, and you're like, where can he play? Is it a 10? Is it the 8? Like, where is it? So, look, I've always said Mainoo, look, I'll say it again, look, Mainoo is better than midfield 3, same with Casemiro, same with Eriksen, same with, Bruno. Look, even Bruno can play in the 10, but knowing Amorim, he's going to play in the 8. There's certain players that can play in a certain system, like, you know, the players I mentioned. I don't look, maybe Menu can play in that pivot too, but you've seen him struggling, and you've seen him like, is it balance? Is it the right? And where do you play Bruno? That's the thing, because obviously you got MBEUMO and CUNHA, so you can't obviously bench the captain. But it's like Menu's such a great player, but where do you fit him? That's the thing. Like, I can't see Meno and Bruno. I can't see that. And this is the question: should we have sold Bruno? I mean, like, I don't want to sell. I don't want to sell Meno because he's one for the future. Bruno, you look back on it and you're thinking it's a regret, because I'll tell you something. Once the season starts and we're gonna see Bruno not performing, that's just gonna be the headline. Did United regret not selling Bruno? You know? Back onto what I was saying, certain players that fit in certain systems, like Bruno, Ugarte. No, Ugarte has played midfield too, so yeah. Casemiro, Ericsson, they're better than midfield three. Whereas midfielders like I mentioned too, Morton Himmel, which most of you will know, um, from Sporting, obviously Amr is aware of. And there's one player which I'm a bit surprised no one's even gone for, because, you know, Leverkusen is absolutely getting, you know, they're losing players, you know. Um, but it's surprising no one's even gone for him. I even was spamming in Mark Goldbridge's chat about Palacios. You know, even a player like him, he fits a midfield too, because of um, him working under Jabi Alonso, him and Xhaka. So, you know, I mean, look, you look at Xhaka when he moved to Leverkusen and he adapted well. Maybe Bruno can, maybe Menu can do that. You know, some players take time to adapt to a certain system and formation, whereas some players take time, or maybe it never works. But look, I mean, we've been talking about midfield targets. Now, obviously, Hemmel's gonna be expensive. I don't know what the value is for Palacios, but if I was United, and look, is that the type of midfield Amorim would want? I have no idea. But I mean, it's just amazing how this player's overlooked, because no one in Europe's going for him, which I'm a bit surprised. He's everything you want in a midfield too. He's everything what you want Amorim wants, which is relentless energy, creativity, tackling, aggressive. Like, he's more of a Ugarte, but creative at the same time. So he's basically a mixture of Bruno and Ugarte. So aggressive and, you know, playmaking traits at the same time. So I'm a bit surprised no one's looked at him, but, you know, you guys obviously have opinions. I personally think he's great. Now, obviously, I know people are gonna say, "Oh, but it's the Bundesliga." Well, West has just gone to Leverkusen, and if anybody wants to, you know, put disrespect on Palacios, I mean, don't forget he was part of a treble season. Sorry, not treble. No, they didn't win the treble. Well, unbeaten Bundesliga champions. So, you know, you can't really say is he that bad or whatever. But, you know, I mean, that's just my preference. Look, I know we're not gonna go for him because United have not been linked. So, you know, but that's just my opinion anyway. So, you know, Amr also said we need to be really careful when we sign players. If we start the season with this squad, I'm happy. I mean, again, this is a controversial take. I mean, why on earth would you? Why on earth would you think of that? You know, as a fan, you'd be shittier. So you're thinking two players is not enough for Amrin. You know, of course he's not gonna say to the media, "Oh, I'm not happy," unless he's one of those types of managers where I couldn't give a shit, like Mourinho. Um, but look, if I was Amrin, probably Amrin deep inside knows himself two players is not enough. You know, realistically, he needs a striker, he needs a goalkeeper, and he needs a midfielder. After seeing that Leeds game with Bruno and Casemiro, it was absolutely dreadful. I don't know how we're gonna line up, which we obviously talk about against West Ham, but the midfield situation worries me, and this is where it's like initially it was goalkeeper, then it was striker, and then it was thingy. What do you call it? It was midfield after seeing that that Leeds game. So I don't know if you guys told me if you were Ruben Amorim or the Manchester United board, which position you prioritize, because I think clearly it's striker, it's midfield, and it's goalkeeper. I don't think defense is a problem unless it comes out to goalkeeping, which is Onana. But obviously he's injured and we don't know. He probably might be back for Arsenal, but that seems unlikely. So Bayern there will be in goal. I think midfield as well needs to change, because I think defense is not a problem. I don't think defense is a problem. I think it's us creating chances, always not relying on Bruno, us being clinical when it comes to goals, and midfield battle as well. There's no legs in midfield. You can't keep relying on Casemiro. He's not got the legs. Bruno isn't a proper 8, so I don't understand why do you even think of that. And who's our best midfield, thing? Mainu and Ugarte. But, I mean, look, if we get a new midfielder, that means we had to move on someone, and apparently it could be Collier, which I don't want to, because, again, why does a youth player who has potential to even be a player at Manchester United, when someone like Casemiro, who's going to piss off in a year anyway, when you can just get the money you can get right now? So, But anyway, main video, obviously, that we're going to be talking about is match preview against West Ham. So, obviously, I've gone with a different squad. I don't know how many changes. I think, yeah, obviously, MBEUMO is going to be playing. Hopefully, he's going to play. And yeah, I mean, this is the type of team where I kind of see this team playing against Arsenal for some reason. Unless Martinez comes back, unless, maybe we get a striker in that time, who knows, but maybe a goalkeeper. But this almost looks like the team that you play against Arsenal. I don't know, what do you guys think? Maybe you guys will play Casemiro. Maybe you guys won't play Ahmed at wingback. You might play Dalot, who knows, or Mazraoui. So, but this is the team I went with. Look, I don't know the transfer history with West Ham. All I do know is that they've sold CUNHA, so obviously, it's obviously a loss. But, I'm pretty sure. Look, I mean, the question is, will we take the summer series serious? I don't know. Maybe we should. But then again, preseason is almost like a blessing in disguise. And then once the season starts and we lose to Arsenal, then people are gonna say, "Oh, but we had a great preseason," and then we lose to Arsenal. So it's almost like, well, no one cares about preseason because it's preseason. But of course, you want better performances. But I mean, initially, I think, I don't know, because this is kind of controversial. I think between Bournemouth and West Ham is probably one of the teams that could be a tough test for us. I think we'll do well against Everton. I'm confident in that. But West Ham and Bournemouth, I think West Ham had a poor season, but there's absolutely been no transfer window. Maybe they might not be as very confident as we think they are. Maybe Bournemouth might be the team. I mean, God's sake, the Bournemouth game is like 2:30. I mean, fucking hell. I mean, fair enough if you're gonna be awake for that game. I mean, I will, but But yeah, I went with a prediction of 2-0. I think, why not? I mean, look, I did go with 2-1 against Leeds, but we did not do anything. But hopefully, MBEUMO makes an impact. Cunha we get to see more of. And let's just see how Højlund will do. You know, I did not put, obviously, Højlund as a goal scorer, but, you know, maybe he might put Xerxes up front. Who knows? So, yeah, so obviously I did go Cunha and MBEUMO goal scorers. I thought, why not? And then MBEUMO man of the match. I mean, why not? I mean, I did put Cunha as man of the match for the previous game, but, you know, I mean, man of matches don't really care, but it's about who performs the best anyway. So, you know, I went with MBEUMO. So yeah, that's about it, really. Really sucks. It has to be, when is it? 12 o'clock. I mean, that's minor. I mean, the Everton one's actually, like, you can't really have complaints unless you, no, you can't complain. You don't, I was going to say if you guys have bedtimes or something, you know, it's summer holidays. That's at 10 o'clock, so yeah. Oh yeah, unfortunately, I can't do, the watch-alongs for this because it's very late. It's in America, of course, and I don't want my, my family waking up, my parents, otherwise, I'd get hammered. Oh wait, hang on a minute. Oh, Everton and Bournemouth playing tomorrow. I might watch that 9 o'clock. Why not? So yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, no watch-alongs. No watch-alongs on Fiorentina as well. I'm very busy on Saturdays, unfortunately. But I will make my first ever watch-along against Arsenal. So tune in for that. But that's, I mean, how many weeks do we have? 1, 2, 3. So 3 weeks. Oh wow, 3 weeks to the day, so the Premier League kicks off. Wow. So yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, smash a like, share, whatever. See you on the next one.